Step here, face away from her, face away.
Get on the ground!
All the way down. All the way
on the ground!
Watch that right.
A surprise twist in the murder of a woman inside her Southfield home.
Phone records did place her at the home at the time of the shooting.
A daughter under arrest tonight, accused of killing her own mother.
It was late on a quiet Sunday night in Southfield, Michigan, a peaceful suburb just outside Detroit. Inside a cozy home on Bainbridge Drive, 45-year-old Ada Mae Simmons-Jones tucked her 3-year-old granddaughter into bed, unaware that the person she loved most was already outside her door, armed, determined, and ready to destroy everything. Police would later call it a calculated act of rage.
This could have very well have been a whodunit type of crime based on her planning. But our Southfield police officers worked around the clock because we knew that the family deserved justice and deserved answers.
Neighbors would say they'd never forget the scream that tore through the night. But beneath the surface of this family tragedy was a bitter custody battle, one that turned a daughter's jealousy into cold-blooded murder. This is the story of Ada Mae Simmons-Jones and Riley Donaldson. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. Ada Mae Simmons-Jones was known in her Southfield neighborhood as a strong, dependable woman, a devoted mother and grandmother.
When was the last time you ever did so childish stuff with your grandbaby? And me, it's almost every day. I'm in a hotel. I'm teaching her the great thing about
She worked hard, went to church often, and was raising her granddaughter after her daughter's life began to spiral out of control. To friends, Ada was the glue that held her family together. To her daughter Riley, that same control felt like punishment. Riley Donaldson was just 22, young, restless, and determined to prove she could raise her child on her own. But months earlier, the state had given custody of her 3-year-old to Ada. What was supposed to be temporary had turned into a growing resentment. To Riley, every phone call with her mother became a fight. Every visit was a reminder that someone else was raising her child. By late summer, police reports showed Riley had already taken her mother's car and the little girl without permission once before. Ada had reported it, hoping, somehow, it would bring her daughter back to reason. On the night of October 5, 2025, Riley left Ohio and drove north toward Michigan, a 4-hour drive fueled by anger, jealousy, and heartbreak. Her destination, her mother's home. Her reason, to get her baby back, as she told a friend earlier that day. But what she carried with her wasn't a suitcase or baby clothes. It was a gun. It was nearly midnight when Riley pulled into Bainbridge Drive. Ada was still awake, sitting in her living room, scrolling through pictures of her granddaughter on her phone. When she heard the door, she thought it was the 77-year-old relative who lived with her. Instead, standing in the doorway was Riley, her only daughter, eyes cold, voice trembling. "You took her from me, Mom. Riley, please, we can fix this." But there was no fixing it. The next few seconds erupted in chaos, shouting, footsteps, then several sharp cracks that echoed through the neighborhood. When it was over, Ada Mae Simmons-Jones lay motionless on the living room floor. The 3-year-old child, sleeping in the next room, was left unharmed. And Riley, the daughter she'd once protected, fled into the night. Detectives arrived within minutes of the 911 call from the elderly relative who had heard the shots. Inside the house, they found Ada dead, the weapon missing, and a purse left behind. Inside that purse were Riley Donaldson's identification cards. Security cameras from nearby homes captured a vehicle speeding away, the same one registered in her name. By the next morning, an alert was out across the region. Less than 24 hours later, police spotted Riley's car outside a CVS parking lot in Detroit. When they approached her, she didn't resist. Officers described her demeanor as detached, emotionless, even peaceful.
Yeah! Hey, open! Hands up! Hands up!
I got him. Hands up, hands up, hands. That's all right. Hands high, high. Step here, face away from her, face away.
Get on the ground!
All the way down. All the way
on the ground!
Watch that right. If you can get out, you can.
Now the Southfield police releasing this police body cam video showing the arrest of a Cincinnati woman they say drove to Michigan to carry out a deadly shooting.
Investigators believe it stems from a bitter custody battle over a little girl, and police say the target was the girl's grandmother.
The shooting happened on Bainbridge Drive, not far from the corner of Southfield Road and 13 Mile. And now, 7 News Detroit reporter Peter Maxwell is breaking down what investigators believe was the motive for murder.
45-year-old Ada Mae Simmons-Jones was shot and killed right here in her own home in Southfield. And police say the suspect was her own daughter, and she left a critical piece of evidence behind before speeding off.
Hands up! Hands up!
The Southfield Police Department releasing new body cam video in the arrest of 22-year-old Riley Donaldson, accused of allegedly killing her own mother, Ada Mae Simmons-Jones, earlier this month in her home on Bainbridge Drive.
This could have very well have been a whodunit type of crime based on her planning. But our Southfield police officers worked around the clock because we knew that the family deserved justice and deserved answers.
Police say Donaldson drove up from Ohio to her mother's home here in Southfield. Surveillance video showing the moment they say Donaldson pulls up to the house, goes in, then comes out in less than 3 minutes after allegedly shooting her mother multiple times. The victim's mother-in-law, who was inside the home with Donaldson's 3-year-old daughter, heard the gunshots, then called her son, who then called police. Investigators say Donaldson left a key piece of evidence behind.
After she committed the murder of her mother, she also left behind her purse, which contained identifying items.
Donaldson, according to police, then fled the scene in a Chrysler 300 and drove back to Ohio and then back to Detroit a short time after. Police believe the gun used was tossed somewhere along her drive back. Southfield police found Donaldson in Detroit the next day in the same black Chrysler 300. Southfield Police Chief Alvin Barron says when Donaldson was being arrested, she refers to herself as God.
When the officers asked her what her name is, she referred to herself as God.
Ada Mae Simmons-Jones had custody of her 3-year-old granddaughter, and just 2 months ago, her daughter was accused of taking her little girl and the dog to Ohio without permission. Her daughter was found and returned, but the dog was never found, and investigators believe the killing is tied to that ongoing custody dispute.
Although she had legal custody of the child, she never refused an opportunity for our suspect to see the child.
Riley Donaldson is facing a number of charges, including first-degree premeditated murder. She is being held without bond. In Southfield, Peter Maxwell, 7 News, Detroit.
At one point, investigators say she called herself God, but when questioned about her mother's death, she said nothing. Her 3-year-old daughter was placed safely in protective care.
I know after this incident occurred, the media was calling, members of the community was calling, because anytime there's a homicide, it does generate a lot of concern in our neighborhood. I did have an opportunity to speak to the husband of the deceased. I spoke to him yesterday. I didn't want to have a press conference and not have had conversation with him to advising him on the nature of the investigation and the press conference. Certainly want to send our condolences to the family. In fact, we do have friends and family who've joined us here in the audience today to hear the sequence of events and our investigation. I want to remind everybody that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In fact, the Southfield Police Department recently completed a Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. I also spoke at the West Bloomfield Henry Ford Silent Witness ceremony that they partner with Haven every year. And one thing that stands out about this month, oftentimes we spend a lot of time when we have discussions about domestic violence centering on intimate partner violence. But another aspect of domestic violence that we're going to have to pay more attention to is family violence. We've seen son kill father. We've seen brother kill sister. And in this case, unfortunately, daughter kills the mother. So family violence is worthy of those conversations and resources as well. So this incident began on Sunday, October 5th at approximately 11:40 p.m. Southfield police officers were dispatched to the 18,000 block of Bainbridge Drive on the report of a shooting that just occurred. Southfield police and fire arrived on scene and immediately began life-saving measures on an unresponsive female. Despite those efforts by first responders, the victim was pronounced deceased at the scene. While rendering first aid, first responders observed several spent casings and observed the victim with a gunshot wound to the chest, back, and a graze wound to her head. The victim was identified as 45-year-old Southfield resident Ada Mae Simmons-Jones. Southfield officers determined that the 77-year-old female and a 3-year-old child were present in the home at the time the shooting occurred. However, both were unharmed. The 77-year-old female is a resident of the home, and she's the victim's mother-in-law, who does have some physical health challenges. She heard approximately 3 to 4 gunshots and then heard someone run outside the front door. Our officers responded to the scene and began collecting evidence, surveillance video, and our detectives really worked tirelessly on this case. Southfield officers and detectives searched the home, canvassed the area for surveillance videos, and utilized advanced technology to determine the sequence of events. Neighborhood surveillance video captured a dark-colored Chrysler 300 drive down Bainbridge and pull into the driveway of where the shooting occurred. The suspect, later identified as Riley Donaldson, exits the driver's side of the vehicle and approaches the front door of the residence. Minutes later, Donaldson is seen exiting the residence into the front driver's seat of the Chrysler 300 and quickly speed away from the crime scene. And you're going to see that later on when I show that video. However, in a hurry to flee from the scene, our suspect left her purse behind, which contained identifying items. Our suspect, and I'm going to remind you, the daughter of our victim, is a resident of Cincinnati, Ohio, and does not reside at that home. We believe that the gun was concealed inside of that purse as she entered that home. The investigation also revealed through phone records that our suspect was at the home during the time of the shooting. And that's why I mentioned the importance of using technology in these investigations. Our investigation also determined that Donaldson purchased a 2017 Chrysler 300 from a private seller on October 5th of this year. And I bring that up because when you look at the video is grainy, but you can still see the silhouette of the Chrysler 300 if you know your vehicles. Our detectives continued using technology to strengthen our case, and immediately following the shooting, she fled to Ohio, just outside of Toledo, in the area of Lake Township and Pittsburgh Township, where she remained in that area for approximately 2 hours and then drove to the city of Detroit. And I'm going to pause here. So I'm going to tell you, this investigation revealed that this homicide, this murder, was premeditated. And immediately following the shooting, as I stated in my remarks, she fled to Ohio. And we did contact both those cities' police departments because she was there for about 2 hours. We believe that somewhere between the time of the shooting and in her path towards Ohio, we believe she may have discarded that weapon. So we did ask those agencies to search the general area. However, they were not able to locate the gun. On Monday, October 6th, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Southfield detectives and detectives from the Oakland County RFF Task Force and our Southfield Tactical Crime Suppression Unit located the black Chrysler 300 occupied by our suspect in the area of Finkel and St. Mary's in the city of Detroit. Detectives set up surveillance and followed the vehicle to a CVS at the 7 Mile location in the area of Greenfield in the city of Detroit. The Chrysler 300 was backed into a parking spot in front of the store, and 3 males were also in the car with Donaldson. The investigation revealed that these 3 men did not have anything to do with the homicide. Detectives observed our suspect Donaldson as a front seat passenger in the front seat of the Chrysler 300. Responding officers initiated a traffic stop of the vehicle, and Donaldson was taken into custody without incident. And I will show that video here momentarily. I also want to put some context to this, because oftentimes when you have a homicide, particularly you talk about a daughter killing her mother, there must have been some type of conflict. So what we determined is that on Friday, August 22nd of this year, right around 4:30 p.m., Southfield officers were dispatched to the same home on a report of a missing child. The reporting party was our deceased, Miss Ada Mae Simmons-Jones, where she contacted Southfield Dispatch and stated that her daughter, our suspect, Riley Donaldson, had taken her granddaughter, whom Mrs. Simmons-Jones has legal guardianship over the 3-year-old child. And yes, that's the child that was at home at the time of the shooting. She further advised dispatch that our suspect suffered from mental illness and that she stole her vehicle and took the 3-year-old child and the family dog. The victim's vehicle, which was a Kia Sedona, that was taken by a suspect, was recovered by the Swanson Police Department in Toledo, Ohio, along with the 3-year-old child who was unharmed. However, the dog was never recovered. On Wednesday, August 27th of the same year, the victim, Ms. Jones, she did not wish to pursue criminal charges for the theft of the vehicle or for the taking of the grandchild. And probably because, as you know, we love our children and didn't necessarily want to prosecute her daughter. However, Ms. Jones did petition for her daughter to be hospitalized, and Southfield police officers did take her into custody and then transfer her to Common Ground for a mental health evaluation. When you look at the criminal history of our suspect, she does not have a criminal history, but with our evidence and our investigation, the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office did authorize charges for Riley Donaldson. Again, she's 22 years old. She's a resident of Cincinnati, Ohio. And count 1, homicide, murder, first degree, premeditated. Count 2, weapons, felony firearm. She was given no bond, and her next court date is scheduled for October 27th of this year at 9:45 a.m. Before Judge Johnson. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time, talking about the fact that, again, this was premeditated. The prosecutor's office agreed, issued those charges, and I know your next question will surround me regarding mental health and how do you hold individuals accountable. So in my 28 years of policing, I've seen severe mental illness where that person doesn't understand what they're doing. When I'll tell you, this isn't it. And when you look at our contacts with our suspect, and you'll see it in the video, when she's arrested, she refers to herself, when the officers asked her name, refers to herself as God. Also, when our detectives brought her to the station and began to interview or attempt to interview her, she immediately asked for a lawyer. So she's very conscious of the legal system. She's very conscious of calling herself God, because you all know when individuals do that declaration, they're letting us know that they decide who lives and who dies. And so, again, we're not going to allow anyone to use mental health as escape. There's a process for that where a judge will decide whether a person is deemed fit to stand trial for mental illness through a process. But again, our evidence with the way the shooting took place at 11:40 at night, the way you're going to see this vehicle hurry up and escape the crime scene, the fleeing to Ohio to remove yourself from the state of Michigan, particularly Southfield, Michigan, in a close proximity of the time of the shooting, so that you could say that you were in Ohio, not knowing that technology is going to place you at the home at the time of the shooting, not knowing that technology is going to allow us as a police department to track your movements from the crime scene all the way to Ohio. And so with that being said, I'm going to dim these lights and we're going to show the moment in which the Chrysler 300 arrived at the home to commit this heinous crime. Please lower the lights and play the video.
Is there audio associated with this video?
No audio. But it will be audio, I'm sorry, it will be audio for the arrest. I'm going to show the arrest as well, where you're going to hear her call herself God. And before you push play, look at the top. When the car pulls into the driveway, I want you to notice the floodlight comes on when she exits the house. The floodlight comes on when she leaves the house. And also the top of the car, you'll see our suspect, it's grainy, but you can see it's a female with a bonnet on. And it will be the same look as when we locked her up for her crimes. But play the video, please. And when this vehicle exit or flees, watch how the vehicle appears to drive into a ditch, quickly trying to escape. Again, that's someone who's conscious of what they're doing. Now the next video we're going to show is Southfield police officers, Oakland County Auto Theft Task Force, and our detectives arrest after that, again, surveillance operation took place.
Just watch that back. You want to get out? Yeah. Open. Hands up. Hands up.
I got it. Hands up, hands up, hands. That's all right. Hands high, high. Step to your face away, face away.
Get on the ground. On the ground.
Watch that right.
There might be someone in the backseat. I can't tell. There was anybody else in the backseat? That's right.
Grab your stomach, arms out. Give it just 1 minute.
I got something. I stole yours. I got another thing. Thank you, please.
Call what it was. Stop around that curve. Hit the front. If you can get out, you can. Watch front. You got to worry about more of nothing.
And the next will be a still of the vehicle, again, that Chrysler 300, just for your information purposes. All right, this time we can turn the lights back on and then the media refocus. All right, at this point, I'm going to open up the floor for questions from our reporters in the room. Yeah, so I believe that that's a contributing factor to the conflict between mother and daughter was the custodial rights of the child. What I'm told by family is that the mother was very accommodating to the suspect, allowing her to see the child pretty much whenever she wanted to see the child. But again, through conflicts between mother-daughter relationship, probably upset that her mother has legal custody, it probably brewed other conflicts and arguments that may have led up to the homicide. We never will really know the full extent of why someone would choose to kill their mother, but we do believe that it does center around the possibility of the custodial arrangements with the 3-year-old child.
The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office charged Riley Donaldson with first-degree murder and felony firearm possession. In Michigan, that means life in prison without parole if convicted. A once-tight family now torn apart, a mother gone, a daughter behind bars, and a little girl who would grow up with neither. Friends of Ada Mae described her as the type of woman who forgave everyone. They couldn't understand how love could turn into hatred so deep it ended in death. This is the story of Ada Mae Simmons-Jones and Riley Donaldson, a daughter who killed her own mother because of their grandchild.